Guys, I'm busy reloading some 6.5 Creed, and I thought while I'm doing this, why don't I just give you guys some bonus tips for reloading. Now, some of these things are completely free, just processes. Some of the things are some resources that you can download from my website. And some of these things are little cheap Amazon things you can purchase to fundamentally increase your reloading. So in no particular order, while I'm loading 6.5 Creed today, I'm going to chat you guys through, show you some videos and things that I'm just going to grab with my cell phone while I'm sort of doing things to help you improve your reloading overall. Now, without further ado, I want to thank our beautiful partners at MDT Sporting Goods for sponsoring today's video. You guys know I've been running MDT stuff since we got started. I am so pumped. Yesterday I got the shipping notification. My new carbon stock from MDT has just left Canada. Can't wait to get my hands on that in the new year, and you freaking bet we're gonna go smash some baboons of that next year. So if you wanna see that, make sure you're subscribed, notification bell turned on. We've got a mega library of videos for you to go through, and reloading, hunting, matches, the whole freaking shebang. So without further ado, let's jump into my reloading process and some tips that you guys can implement in your process along the way to help you be a better shooter, better reloader, and just be more efficient, because at the end of the day, less time reloading, more time with the family, and more time shooting is generally a good thing. So let's go. Today we're loading 6.5 Creed with brand new Lapua brass. Well, not that new because it still comes in this box. Obviously the new Lapua comes in a cardboard box, and also you don't get 101 cases anymore. So if you're annealing, then you're down to 99, which freaks my OCD out. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run all of these through an expander mandrel. Now, why do I wanna do that? Very importantly, reloading is all about consistency, and you can only achieve consistency by having all of your cases the same. So the inside diameter of the neck, which is this little bit here, I'm gonna run through the APW expander mandrel set. Now that is available from my website, link down below, and there's gonna be a comment or in the body of this YouTube video. All of this stuff is gonna be linked. It's gonna take me a moose a long time, but I'll do it for you guys. So I run every single one of my cases through that. That's gonna be my very first step. And it's a super efficient, very quick process just to run all 101 through this guy. So this is real-time speed, how long this takes. So to do 100 really doesn't take long at all, and it goes such a long way to helping you achieve that perfect neck tension. Also, what this does is when you're seating bullets, every now and again you feel like, oh, that bullet is seating or requires more seating effort than the one before it. This little die eliminates that. Now, our next part for case prep is making sure that our necks are all the same length. I achieve this by using a Henderson trimmer. This does 3 things in one step. It chamfers, deburrs, and cuts the overall length so that they're all the same. Now, very importantly, on new cases, again guys, this is not a crazy deep dive on reloading. On new cases, I set up my trim length just to touch the little front, so I'm not actually cutting it shorter. And then one of our most important tips ever in this whole process, guys, is something as basic and completely free as writing everything down. Yes, it goes without saying that you should do that, but you will not believe how many times I have quickly done some reloading, gone and shot an amazing group, and then, I put my things down, pack my rifle away, and 3 weeks later I want to replicate that recipe, and I never wrote things down. So write things down. Free tip of the day. So trim overall length on the Henderson. Again, this is available from my store, Impact Pro Shop. Without a doubt, the best trimming tool that's out there. It's super fast, 3-in-1. Let's trim all these babies. Now, the reason why I spend a lot of time prepping and getting my cases consistently before I start shooting, it just eliminates a mega variable from the case to case difference when we start doing our load development and all of those things. So a little bit of time investment up front just means all your cases are the same, and you set yourself up for success for when you actually start shooting. Now that our case prep is ready, we're gonna pop some primers into this. I'm gonna use my CPS, the Primal Rights priming tool. Now, it doesn't really matter how you prime. This thing is incredibly fast, and I'm very, very selfish with my time, so I'm willing to spend an obscene amount of money to get my time back, because I know when I'm 65 years old, I'll give all my money back to be 35 again. So I invest in things that save me time. Now, the CPS is one of those tools, but very importantly, what that allows us to do, and the takeaway here besides time is incredibly valuable, is when you guys seat primers, you want to make sure your primers are flush. Okay, you really don't want your primers sticking out. That's going to cause quite a bit of problems for you. So just look for a flat primer when you're doing your priming. I'll show you guys an example of a flat primer, and I'll show you guys an example of what you don't want your primer to look like. So if you're using a hand tool, all of those things, I usually also, when I'm priming, wear glasses, because in the event that you ignite a primer, if you're looking over it or you're standing with a hand priming tool, bad things can happen. So be safe. Anyway, primers, let's go. So now that we've started adding powder, I recently switched over to using the RCBS Matchmaster. I found these scales to be incredibly accurate, incredibly fast, and less finicky than the super tricklers and the stuff. And I've literally noticed zero change in my SDs and stuff, and there's going to be a complete video on that in the new year. Now, something I really like to use when I throw powder, obviously we're throwing magic dust into a little black hole with a primer in the bottom, and that makes sometimes visually seeing if there's powder in there quite difficult. So this little light magnetizes. Okay, so if you've got a metal background like I do, you can add that to that, or on your zero press, if you want to run it like that and just shine a little light into your workspace. These are incredible. I got this off Amazon. So now that I'm throwing powder, I'm going to stick this on over there, put my little beam exactly where I need it to be, and just make sure that there's visually powder in everything, because you do not want to turn up to a match and close your bolt and go like my friend recently did at a pretty big match. Not mentioning any names. I knew. Now, if you're using an electronic scale, because it is 2024, and you probably are, I highly recommend you turn it on quite a while before you start reloading. I like to turn mine on the morning if I know I'm going to reload, and then I'll get to it throughout the day. Draws basically no power, but just allows everything to heat up nicely. Also, before you start reloading, calibrate your scale as per the manual. Little details end up making compounding big results. Now, this is another simple one. Once you're done throwing powder, remove the powder out of your scale. These RCBS Matchmasters are super cool. There's a little thing you flip at the bottom and everything drains. Also, make sure you put it into the right tin, like the 550 we shot today. Another thing I also like to do is, in my safe, I have my powder in a dehumidifying box, and I try and do that with my powder and my primers to make sure that there's not any humidity creeping in there, and that box keeps things at about 24% relative humidity, and it's just one of those extra steps that I implemented to just give me just more consistency across the board. I also use it to dry my 3D printing filaments, so there's a bit of a dual use there. Anyway, drain your scales, boys. These yellow hoppers we see from powder sitting in there for months, it's gross. Don't do that. Now, reloading space that gets used ultimately gets dirty. One of the things I really like to do is have a little handy shop vac on hand. This one's cordless, works phenomenally well. I just zzz things up and I keep my spot relatively organized and neat, because we don't want to make mistakes here. So next we're going to be seating our bullets. Now, famously, Adam Savage on Mythbusters said the difference between progress and messing around is writing stuff down. I don't think he quite said it that diplomatically, but that's very important. So one of my biggest tips is measure, don't take this the wrong way, but measure everything. Okay, so base to ogive, all of those things. I really like these Area 419 kits. We do have these available at our store, Impact Pro Shop, or you can get them from area419.com. These are really cool, measuring your ogive, all of those things, and your shoulder bumps. So sort of a 2-in-1 kit. Very, very powerful indeed. Now, in my case, I already know what my base to ogive is, so I'm just going to turn this 419 zero press to my Creedmoor die and seat all of my bullets. Creedmoor, there we go. Now, as a little bonus tip, what I like to do is give it the old rotation. So when I'm seating on a press like this, I'm going to seat my bullet, give it a half a turn, and then run the ram again. And I think that just helps us with a little bit less run out, although with the zero press, it's not really a concern. That's an old habit coming from my slippity slop Reading Big Boss 2 press that I started things off with. So there we go, Creedmoor round. Hunky-dory. Now, another tip that goes without saying is double check that your die is in fact tight. I can't tell you how many times I've reloaded, specifically on my Big Boss 2 press there, where I'm like 200-300 rounds deep into loading for a precision rifle match, And then like I see, oh, my die's unscrewed itself. And then I have to seat every single bullet again. It is a giant pain in the ass. So avoid that. Get yourself some nice locking rings. And, you know, cinch that die down once it's set up correctly, that it doesn't move on you. Another thing that I implemented many years ago is just getting these sort of hardware store organizers. And I have like all my modified cases in one place. I have all my Henderson set screws. I've got all my Ojai things, my Annealing Made Perfect pilots, just all the things that I need in terms of seating bullets and all of those kind of things, spare deep capping pins and those kind of things. So just little things all organized in one space. And when I'm done with it, I put it back in its space, because if something is not in its place, it is therefore everywhere. So yeah, organize with a little hardware store organizer. I also realize a lot of people watching my channel don't necessarily reload, but are on the fence whether they should or not. I've done a video which I will link for you guys at the end, whether you should actually consider getting into reloading. I love it. It gives me something to do. A lot of people that shoot in South Africa specifically, it's so unaffordable to shoot large quantities like we do in precision rifle at, you know, factory prices, that we end up getting forced to, we have to reload. So that's something to consider depending on where you live. Personally, if I lived in America, for example, and I could buy good quality factory ammo or get a service, which there are also in America, for people to reload for me, my time is worth way more to be doing other things than to reload 300-400 rounds. But sadly, that's not an option for us here. So if it was, I would very possibly consider that. In fact, I'm going to do that next year for pistol ammunition. I'm going to be done loading pistol, because I can now, through my store at least, for myself buy pistol to round about the same price that I can make it at home for, minus the time. So even if it costs me like, you know, a couple of cents more a round to buy it, I'm going to go that route and just get all that time back. So that's something to consider. Again, that video is going to be linked for you guys at the end. I got to show you guys something ridiculously wild. I was messing around with GPT, and this is what we came up with. So I'm screen recording, and you guys will be able to hear it here. So, hi, please tell me about the rifles you see on the wall.
I see two rifles mounted on the wall. The top one has a tan or desert colored stock, while the bottom one has a black and silver chassis. They both look like precision rifles, possibly for long-range shooting or precision rifle matches.
That's pretty remarkable. Okay, do me another solid. Tell me about this logo on my tumbler, and do you recognize the logo on my carpet?
The logo on your tumbler is from Vortex Optics. The logo on the carpet also appears to be the Vortex Optics logo. You must be a fan of their products.
Guys, how remarkable is this? It's so real. Okay, do me a favor. Tell me about the Vortex warranty.
Vortex Optics is known for its VIP warranty. It's an unconditional lifetime warranty that covers any damage or defect, no matter who owns the product. Basically, if anything happens to your Vortex product, they'll repair or replace it. It's a big part of why Vortex has such a loyal customer base.
Guys, that is remarkable. Thank you very much for your time. Are you subscribed to Impact Shooting, by the way?
I'm always here to support you and your channel. Let me know if there's anything else I can help with.
Okay, so she obviously knows it's my channel. Lol. I'm going to stop that. Guys, we live in a wild world. Holy moly. That is the worst that tool's ever going to be. Pretty freaking cool. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that little bonus at the end. I hadn't trial run that, by the way. That was doing it live. I was messing around in my kitchen with flings, and it recognized flings in a bowl. Pretty spectacular. Anyway, okay, guys, I wish you a Merry Christmas. This might be our last video of the year. Thank you very much for an epic 2024. I love you guys. Jesus loves you, more importantly. Celebrate Christmas with your family and your friends, and be kind to one another. And I'll see you in 2025, where we're going to be doing quite a bit of shooting. Mostly, or a lot more on that front. You see the pistol collection growing behind me. We're going to do a lot of pistol stuff. So 2025 is going to be a pretty mega year. I'm pumped, and I'm pumped to have you along for the journey. Okay, God bless. See you. Bye.